welcome to Colleagues Getting Coffee. Today we are in the glorious New Forest with Kerri of Rising Tide Media. Rising Tide. The tides do rise. Is that people buying newspapers and magazines?
Absolutely. It basically means what I wanted to create with my business. So like I hire a lot of like interns and juniors and stuff. So I wanted to sort of help, them, but also my clients, like we're raising their profile.
Yeah. I love it. Tell me what your year looks like. What's your next year looking like?
Well, I don't know if this is naughty or not, but I don't really prepare things too far in advance because things change, right?
Yeah, they do.
And I kind of changed my mind, and I think that's the beauty of running your own business, isn't it? That you can change paths and do as you like. I'd say like the next few months, I've got a book and podcast launching.
Amazing. What's
those
the
are
podcast
definitely
called?
The PR Show.
Ooh.
I know. How did I come up with it? It's genius, isn't it?
How did I come up with it?
I can't believe no one had the name.
Yes.
I literally spent hours on iTunes and Google trying to find it. I was like, surely someone has this somewhere.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one, so I was like, right, it's mine.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Meant to be. So what's your book called, darling?
Get a Yes from the Press.
Ooh, I love this rhymey Cockney slang rhymey.
It's good, isn't it? Well, press actually is relating to newspapers and things, but nothing really rhymed with media. So I was like, yes, press. Yeah, we'll just do that.
Tea. Yeah, feel free, darling.
You.
Yeah, thank you. Loving life. That's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay, so say yes to the press. Amazing.
Yep.
But you've got another book. I didn't know you even had another book.
I know. Well, it's been hiding.
Where is it?
I haven't sort of launched it and done loads of things with it. Well, it's interesting actually. And this happens to loads of my clients, so you'd think I'd see it coming. It's where you kind of talk about something for so long and then you do it.
Yeah.
And then there's this, or at some point in that journey, there's that mental block.
Right.
And for me, it was I've been on live telly, I've done radio, I've done all these amazing things, given away award ceremonies, things that are in front of a lot of eyes. But when it came to the book, I had written it and I was really, really disciplined in right, this day I'm going to write those chapters and everything.
Oh my God.
I even had an editor, someone to format it. So it's this beautiful print book ready and waiting.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was scared to put it out there in the world.
Right.
I have no idea why, but apparently that happens a lot. And I see it with my clients where they hire me and they're like, yeah, I want to be famous, I want to get everywhere. And then they'll change their mind. They'll be like, and then I'll say, okay, great. The Guardian or the Telegraph or a big name, they've said yes, they want to feature you. And then my client will be like, oh God, I don't think I can do that. I'm a bit scared.
It's because, isn't it? There's a couple of things here. I think with the book, it's when you've launched the book, it's done.
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
It's out there.
How are you going to spend your time?
Do another one.
Next. But I think there's something about putting it out because then you're welcoming. It's like social media we're talking about, right? You put something out in the world and people can criticise it or have a comment and whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want to have something you've made and it's precious and not everyone has an opinion on it too. You want to kind of keep things sacred sometimes.
Yeah, and I think for me it was thinking that it was something I was in control of. So even though I had been on live telly and all over social media and all that kind of thing, I still felt quite in control of that. Yeah. And I was like, well, I know my mum didn't see me on telly, or I know so and so didn't see that social media post or something. Even though they may have, but in my head I was like, it's fine. It's it's just my network, my audience of people. Yeah. Whereas I think a book, because you're putting it on Amazon or wherever you're selling it, it is quite scary because it's anyone in the world can buy your stuff and then have an opinion on it. Or,
and also people can just be real arseholes about it, can't they?
They really
Particularly
can.
grammar people. Oh my God. Did you really intend to use a semicolon here? And you're like, oh, kill me. And that apostrophe should definitely be, although in this example here, blah, 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 and you're just thinking, oh my God, man, get a grip.
Yeah, just go home.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I read this thing recently, and by read this thing, I meant my husband told me about it because he reads lots of stuff and I don't have time to read anything. We were talking about attention, that we live in an attention economy.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Right, once upon a time it used to be money, 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 but now it's if you can build yourself a big enough profile, you can get yourself enough attention, you're done.
You can sell stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where does that go? Where is that going?
I think it's a really good question. I think a lot of people spend so much time in that developing, creating, or just like building an audience and things. And just with, well, if I have, 1,000 people on my email list, then I'll be rich, or then I can sell my course, or then I can launch this. And there's always the what if and when, and there's no real, I don't know. It's not a way that I sort of run my business. It certainly was in the past. I used to think there was like a magical,
if you get a certain amount of likes
thing.
and follows and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I mean,
I'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, I get really fed up with people going on and on and on about likes, and because I've done social media management for people, and I try to explain it doesn't matter if 8,000 people like that and nobody buys it. It's better that 2 people liked it and 2 people bought it. And they were like, no, but it's likes. But I'm like, likes are little imaginary digital pats on the back. Like, they don't really mean
digital
anything.
pixies.
Yeah, aren't they don't really mean anything,
No.
really. It's about engagement, about what people do then. Do they go on your website? Do they go and buy something? Do they book you? Do they buy your book? Do they check out your podcast? Like, how do they continue the journey with you? And likes, I mean, I don't know about you, but I find it hard to like enough content that I would normally like, because it's also a little bit away from my brand. Like, some of the stuff I really like, I want to stay on brand. If I like and comment on stuff that's on LinkedIn that's not relevant to what I do, then I'm starting to talk about, I really like dogs on motorbikes too.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always second guess myself, and I actually quite a lot of the time will comment on something, and then I'll erase it and not post it. And I just think, no, that's got nothing to do with my business and what I want to be known for.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you say about likes and just meaning nothing really, because my most viewed and most hated LinkedIn post was exactly that. And the opening sentence was, likes and shares don't pay the bills. And I was basically saying that I don't share my friends' stuff if it's got nothing to do with the audience that I'm
trying to talk to.
And like honestly, I cannot tell you the amount of like abusive comments that were underneath, saying like, why wouldn't you help your friends out, and yes, likes matter, and all this kind of thing. There was like really, really awful messages in my inbox. I was in tears. Like, it was like a really awful fortnight of like being trolled and all this kind of stuff. But I was like, no, I stand by it. Now
you should stand by
it, because I was like, well, no, because this is the audience that you've built. If I then start talking about some cleaning products that my
100%.
friend has done, like, sure, on my personal Facebook page, like profile, I mean, then there's no harm, because I keep that personal. I don't have work stuff on there particularly.
And it's a big part of your brand, like the things that you like, the things that you associate with. Like, I've said this to one of my colleagues' friends. She likes and comments on all sorts of stuff, and I think, and who are you? And what's your brand identity? Because if someone looks through your activity and all they see is like cleaning products, dogs on skateboards, plants, whatever, but she's a marketeer, or she's a videographer, or she's a whatever, salesperson, those things have got nothing to do with that. And you've just got to be a bit realistic, haven't you? And just stick to, you can't give likes and stuff and like everything anyway. It's too much content.
Well, this is what I say to clients as well. So when we're doing like PR activities, I guess, we always stick with like 2 or 3 things that they want to be known for. So like, what are their expert topics? And it's exactly the same. We've kind of dabbled with social as well, and we'll only comment and share stuff, or engage in some way with those only 2 or 3 things that they want to be known for. And quite often it's only one, but like it's 2 or 3 at a push. Because even 2 or 3 dilutes the message. Like, because I talk about branding and values, and I talk about 5 values, but 5 is probably still too much. Like, really, you should just be like, right, I love giving, and I love being super optimistic, and I like helpfulness or whatever. And those are quite easy. And then you're like, oh, and I also like Jamaica. Exactly.
And then you're like, dilute. It's easier just to stick to a couple of things, isn't it? Do it really well.
Definitely.
That's what I always say as well about social. Don't just constantly put content out there that's of no use to anyone. Are you okay?
just ignore me.
You're just like, I'm just going to pour this on my hand.
I'm just going to pour some coffee over me.
I don't want this in my mouth.
I actually told my son off for doing that the other day, because he went here and then started pouring, and it just went everywhere. And I've literally just done the same myself.
Have you got something to say to him? Should you apologise right now?
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Second book that you're writing, though, because your first book was about content ideas.
Yes, it's called More Clients.
Oh.
And on the front cover, the E is a £.
Oh, nice.
Good, isn't it? I just had to get that in there.
When did
really proud of that.
when did you write this book?
I actually wrote it 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it only sort of came to light recently because I was just like stuck with it.
Okay.
I was really scared to put it out there for some reason. Don't know why.
Fear.
Yeah.
So, do you mind sharing some of your ideas, marketing ideas?
Yeah, so basically in the book More Clients, there's 200 marketing ideas, and what I've done is kind of separate it. So like these are some social media ideas, here's some PR ideas, here's some website ideas, just so people can like literally just go, well, I don't really need the whole thing, so I'm just going to go to this bit. I just want to know about social or something.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's just keeping everything really simple. This is why I did 200 ideas, because they're just 200 really, 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 really easy things.
And sometimes it's just the match that lights the spark for someone, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, I saw something recently and someone had done A to Z of different content suggestions and stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I was putting a video thing together for a client and it was like interviews and talking heads and how-to guides and da-da-da. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, I could do these things too, actually. I was like, oh, why didn't I write this for myself?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just those little bits, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just like to keep things really simple as well. Like, of course, like PR, like marketing, like any kind of service, I guess. You know, you can go into lengthy strategy documents and big campaigns and stuff, but it's just not always necessary.
Yeah.
Regardless of the size of your business, I think everyone can just cut out the nonsense and the stuff that you do just because, and just actually focus on the thing that's going to A, make you money, and B, just grow your credibility and your visibility and stuff like that, really. So I mean, my favourite things in the book are obviously like the PRE section. And it's just basically figuring out, it's just being really strategic with it and figuring out who your ideal client is, which you probably already know anyway. We've probably got, our little avatars of our little cartoon characters hidden somewhere in a notebook, right? And it's just figuring out, who they are, and then defining what media they're reading, watching and listening to.
Okay.
It's like literally the simplest of things, but is just mega in terms of like then knowing who you need to reach out to and what journalists and what publications and stuff you need to get on their radar. So if you know your audience, listens to certain podcasts when they're on their way to the office every morning in the car, pitch yourself to be on that show.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So just keep it really simple and just focus on those.
Well, this is exactly, because you did an Ask Annelies with me, did I?
Yay.
Happy days. And you talked about pitching to the press, and again, it was about being really specific. Like, know that know that publication, know what they write about, know if they've written about the thing you want to write about. See, I'm remembering, do you see?
Exactly.
And just make it super relevant, because you said like doing the work for them.
Yeah.
People must get emails. We met with Kim Barber from the news recently.
Yeah.
And she was saying that like people just send her reams of stuff, and she's like,
I pitch her all the time.
do you?
Yeah.
You're like, hi Kim.
Hi Kim. Thanks, Kim.
But like she's like, do the legwork for me.
Exactly. You've got to make it easy for them. So like, you don't want them to have to go, oh, it kind of sounds okay, but I'm going to have to reply and say, can you send me this? Can you send me this? I don't know. Can you clarify this? That's just boring. Like, none of us want to do that. It'd be like if you opened an email that said, oh, I've got this really cool product.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Like, cool. You as a person, like, you're not going to go and buy it. You're going to have to reply and say, well, what is it? Like, I don't understand. Just tell me.
Or my pet hate is when anyone emails me too many words. There's in my opinion, there's too many words in the world. And when people send me really long emails, I'm like,
no.
If you can't get to the point quick enough, darling, then you don't know the point. Yeah.
That's the thing. And so many certainly smaller businesses, and even like medium-sized ones that are doing PR themselves in-house, quite often they will just think that they need to send their entire life story. Yeah. They'll just, send so someone has to scroll down in the email, it's just so long. And I read recently, there is some kind of like magical formula in terms of like email writing. It should be like no more than like three sentences or like 3 small paragraphs. Like bosh, done, goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's how I do my pitching as well. It's like literally, like, I'm wondering if you're interested in this. Yeah. Just to give you a little bit more info.
Nice.
Comma, and then there's a little bit more info. So they don't need to read the whole thing if they don't need to.
Yeah,
They're like, don't need any more.
Yeah. Are you interested in this? No. No.
Yeah.
Stop reading.
Exactly.
Then,
Yeah. Or like they might even say yes without needing to read that, that next paragraph about that, say for instance, like a client's, past work history or something.
Yeah.
They might be like, no, I quite like the idea that they've already suggested. So like, that's fine. And then, closing it with, what you actually want them to do with it.
Yeah.
So, I'd love if there was a place for us in XYZ spotlight feature or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the recipient actually knows what to do with it. And it's just, once you've got that template and that, thing nailed, it just makes life so much easier.
Just rehash, rechange, rejig, send it out. I love it. Final thought of the day. We've wandered around with horses and by lakes. We've got coffee in places with pallets everywhere. What is your key takeaway for today?
My top tip?
Tip.
I would say just keep things simple. Just keep things really simple. Just focus on ideal client, what they're reading, watching, listening to.
Yep.
And just literally just focus on that.
Probably also in life and business.
Exactly.
Keep everything simple.
That's just a good sales strategy as well. Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. I hate that phrase, actually. Anyway, but great. Where can people find out more about you, my darling?
You can find everything about me, my book, podcast, just my life history, I guess, on my website, risingtide.agency.
Risingtide.agency. Kerri Watt, you've been an amazing, glamorous superstar of a guest. And thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yay!
Thanks.